Everyone, this is Shruti. You all must have heard about AI, machine learning, and data mining. While all of these buzzwords have raised quite a stir in our daily life, and I believe the cornerstone behind all of this is data. And you can get actionable insights from data when you mine the data. The only way I could understand these concepts and use case was if I could break it into a simpler form. So I'm creating a series to explain complex concepts and present them in an easy to understand format. So whether you're a tech enthusiast or a professional looking to expand your knowledge, my videos are designed to give you a sound overview of the technology. So before we go through what is data mining, why data mining, and how it works, I just want you to look into this real life example where Los Angeles Police Department uses data mining since 2011. So what happened was LAPD was facing an issue of resource crunch. They wanted to save on the cost and patrolling routes, reduce paying overtime to the officers, and most importantly, they wanted to proactively deploy the resources and the officers to only the places where criminal activities would likely to occur. And the approach they took is known as predictive policing. So, how does this predictive policing work? Each day, the crime analyst in the office would generate maps showing the top 20 hotspots where the crime would most likely to occur. These maps were then distributed to the patrol commanders and officers at the start of the shift for the next 12 hours. So the commanders, before the shift starts, they will log into a web interface and print out the report. And they were instructed to spend their available patrol time within these marked hotspots. And they followed this rigorously. So, what was the outcome of this model then? There was a 7.4 reduction in the volume of the crime, and LAPD has various divisions. There was a reduction of 4.3 fewer crimes per week per division. And a group of researchers, found what is the cost saving using this model, which includes cost to the victim, cost to the police, the court system, the offender, and they found out an annual saving of around 17 million. So, what is this process and how LAPD could achieve this result? What is data mining? Data mining is a process where you analyze or search in a large amount of data to identify certain trends or patterns or if there's any correlation among the data. And this finding is then used for predictions, forecasting, or to gain even more insights on your existing data. There's six stages in data mining, and the first stage is project objective. It is here where you define the problem or the scope where you're looking for data mining to solve. In case of LAPD, it was to reduce crime by predicting future crime spots, and this will in turn reduce the cost spent in all the process. The second is data collection or data understanding. When working with data, especially in your early stages in your project, it is very important to get familiar with your data set and you want to collect only the necessary data. So, in a real world scenario, from where do you begin collecting the data? So, you first collect the data from internal data sources. So, in large organization, data is stored in database. So, whether information like customer information, sales record, transaction logs, operation data, you collect basically from CRM, customer relationship management, like Salesforce, and ERP, enterprise resource planning, like SAP. External data source is the second one where you'll be want to collect your data, and this can be like population details, economic facts, what is the weather condition, the data on the social media. You can also use automated data collection tools like web scraping tools which extract data from the web pages and various other applications, and also API platforms like Twitter API, or you can use your own coding language to extract data. Also, the other data which can be fed into the data model is from survey and feedback. So, direct feedback from customer through online or in-person survey, employee feedback can also be IoT devices like camera and various other sensors installed in respective business field. All this can be fed into the data model. In case of LAPD, the kind of data they put into the model was, the first thing was the past crime reports. So the model was fed with mainly four inputs: the date, time, location, and the type of crime. Also, the kind of calls made to the police department, the incident details, and how the officers were dispatched and how efficiently the resource was deployed, the previous arrest records, the CCTV footage, various sensors installed, also community engagement platforms like online reporting tools where citizens reported crimes and suspicious activities, community feedback. So this is the second stage of data mining. And the third is the data preparation, where cleaning and transforming of data happens. So what do you mean? Here, raw data is converted to suitable format for modeling. So how do you do this, right? The first step is you select the data. As I said, data is stored in databases, right? So data is often stored in multiple tables. So the first step is you select which table contains the relevant data for your analysis. So it involves you choosing the right rows in the tables which are relevant for selecting certain data period of analysis, or selecting certain kind of transaction. In real world, we use SQL queries to perform this task. You can also use Python and R, write scripts, and also you use tools like Power BI and Tableau where you represent this data. In my upcoming videos, I will dwell deeply into these techniques and models, and I will show you tools like Power BI and Orange, how these technologies can be applied in real world scenario for data cleaning and transforming. In data cleaning, what you do here is you improve the quality of the data and the accuracy of the analysis. So the steps you do to ensure this is, first, handling missing values. So you decide how to deal with missing data points. So just say you have data which is stored in the form of rows and columns, and whether there's certain rows which has missing data. So whether to fill them using mean, median, mode method, or to remove those rows or columns with too many missing values. The second is removing duplicate data. You identify and remove duplicate records which can actually skew your analysis. The next is correcting errors in data. So data entry which can be obviously wrong, like just in case you have a column which is denoting age of certain, the people. If there's a data record which shows a negative age, that shows the error in the record, or there's an error in the location in the record. The next is standardizing values. So you ensure that data is consistent. Say in case of LEPD, they collected data from phone records, they collected data from the arrest records, from previous crime records. So here they would mention the date, and you have to convert all of the dates in the same format so that this can be easy for analysis. In the data preparation stage, we have data transformation. What happens here is you use techniques to calculate numerical data. Let's say, for example, in case of LAPD, you want to calculate the maximum number of crimes per year in that particular hotspot, or you use slicing to categorize crimes according to their severity of crimes in that hotspot. It can also be creating a new variable from the existing data, and in my upcoming video I'll show you practical example also. Say for an example, you have a data set that includes sales figures for various products which is across multiple stores. You want to create a new variable that will categorize each sale as high, medium or low based on the quantity sold. In the example over here, you can see you're creating a new calculation for the total aggregated sales for 2018, 19, and 20. The next phase of data mining is modeling and evaluation. So, in modeling, techniques are selected and applied to the prepared data. So, from the data collection to data transformation, the data which you have prepared till now, the modeling is applied on it. And there are two types of models, predictive model and descriptive model. So, in simple words, predictive model will produce future outcome or result from the historical data or data that you've prepared till now. It comprises of two regression models and classification model, which I will dwell in deep in my future video. And the second type is the descriptive modeling, which focus on finding patterns or relationships in data to understand what has happened and what is happening. We have two kinds under descriptive model, clustering and association. Basically, it classifies or clusters the data and tell you what is happening in the data. So let's just take an example. In Singapore, you have two kinds of housing, HDB and condo. So let's say you gather data in the last 20 years to see what has been the impact of the inflation in the prices of rent and the purchase of these houses. And you want to prepare a model to predict what kind of prices we see in future, and this is known as predictive modeling. Second case, imagine we have data on daily passengers traveling on Singapore's metro system, MRT system, and we have different kind of lines, north south line, east west circle line. Here our goal say is to identify the usage level of different MRT lines so that you can decide where you need to expand. So this is the example of descriptive model. So here you're using it to classify the data which has maximum passenger using a line, what is the peak hours in which they're using, and which line is used the maximum. After modeling, we have the phase which is evaluation, where you evaluate the model or the models to ensure that they meet the business objectives which we set in the first phase. So this might even require going back to the earlier phase to better align with the project with the business needs or adjusting the model itself. Depending on the predictive or descriptive modeling, we have various techniques for evaluation, which I will also talk in detail in my upcoming videos, and I'll also show you a practical example for the same. The next stage is the deployment and the final phase of the project, which involves the deploying the data mining solution to the business. So you deploy it in cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, GCP, or on-premise, or a hybrid deployment. Can also be deploying in data lakes and data warehouse. So the system which you deploy depends on the variety of factors, like depending on the scale of the task, the security requirements, what are the cost concentrations, and what are the kind of specific tools you're using. As we went through the 6 stages of data mining, and this is a commonly adopted methodology by industry standards, is CRISP, cross industry standard processing for data mining. I hope this gave you a peek into data mining. Thank you for watching, happy learning, and see you in the next video.